Hey, this is Chris Micheli with a video podcast on lobbying elected officials, suggestions for success that former state senator Marty Block, a Democrat from San Diego, and I wrote a few years ago. We have a number of suggestions for hopefully securing excellent communications with elected officials that constituents, interest groups, even experienced lobbyists can keep in mind. And here, Senator Block and I offer a few tips for communicating with elected officials, whether in writing, by letter or email, by phone call, or by making an in-person visit at either their Sacramento Capitol office or their district office. So let's talk first about writing to elected officials. The obvious first point, hopefully, is to address a letter properly, including the correct spelling of the elected official's name, his or her proper title, and the correct address so that it arrives promptly in a timely fashion at the right place. All contact information for elected officials is available online, or you can certainly telephone the elected official's office. Include your name and address because an anonymous letter will be ignored. More importantly, you'll be asking the elected official to respond to your letter, and he or she will only be able to do so if you include a return address. This also allows the elected official to ensure that you are a constituent of that elected official. And rather than putting your name on a form letter, you're more likely to be successful in arguing your perspective if you write a letter using your own words and explain the impact of proposed legislation from your personal perspective. Signing a letter has limited impact as well. Signing a petition, excuse me, because you may just get a form reply if you send a form letter or some sort of a petition. So you want to personalize your letter, and hopefully you'll get more of a personalized response from your elected official or their staff. Also, make sure that you communicate with the elected official early in the process so that your letter can actually have an impact. In other words, if your letter arrives after the elected official has already voted on the bill, then it's not going to have any impact. And you want to ensure that there's sufficient time for the elected official to take action upon your letter. Make sure that you identify the bill or issue that you're writing about in the very beginning, the first paragraph. That allows the letter to be properly routed to the right staff person so that it's read and responded to in a timely manner. Of course, it's also important to give reasons for the opinion you hold on a bill or a particular issue. Your letter should thoroughly state your position and the rationale for your position. But be brief and positive. Negative comments or personalized criticisms are not productive and are not going to reflect well in your lobbying efforts. Turning to telephoning elected officials, when making your first telephone call to an elected official, you should not expect to talk directly to the elected official, but more likely with the appropriate staff person. You should be prepared to give your name and address to the staff member who answers the phone call. This allows them to ensure that you're a constituent, and if not, to direct you to the correct elected official to contact. And also, it allows them to provide a written response to you if it's necessary or appropriate to do so. And then your information is also likely to be passed along to the elected official. Now, you should limit your phone call to one bill or one issue rather than go on a rant about numerous bills or issues. The phone call should generally be short and concise and timely. In other words, if a bill is going to be voted upon this week, a timely call is one that's made the week prior, or at least early in that week, rather than, say, the day after the vote was taken. And of course, thank the elected official or staff person with whom you speak by telephone for any response that they provide. If there isn't an immediate response, then ask for a written response, perhaps, to your position stated. In turning to in-person meetings or by Zoom, if they are remote with elected officials and their staff, Senator Block and I suggest that when planning to meet with an elected official, It's important to schedule a meeting well in advance, whether it's at the Capitol office or in the district office. You should call ahead and make an appointment rather than showing up at the office expecting to meet somebody. When scheduling the appointment, expect a short visit, usually lasting 15 to 20 minutes. Be specific in your request, like the bill number, the author, the topic, the subject matter of your meeting. Include your position and why you want to meet with your elected official, and identify all the individuals who will be in the meeting with the elected official and the organization that these other individuals represent. Note that in many instances, the scheduler of a legislator's office will request a form to be completed and submitted, or a formal written request by email or letter to be provided before the scheduling will actually occur. Now, prepare for your meeting by knowing the elected official's background and their likely stance on the particular bill or issue that you want to talk about. Think about what questions might be raised, what the other side of the bill or issue is saying about that measure or that bill or the public policy issue, and review your key arguments. Now, meeting with staff is very valuable if you can't meet directly with your elected official. You should provide the same information, make the same arguments with the staff member that you would with the elected official. And be sure to bring what we call a leave behind, a 1 or 2 page letter reiterating your position on the bill or the issue, so that the staff and the elected official can review it and that information is available to refer back to. Any studies or articles or other supporting material that you cite would also be valuable to leave behind with the elected official and their staff. Now, the following are Senator Marty Block's 8 suggestions for a successful visit with a legislator. But we think that this advice is good guidance for meeting with local or federal appointed or elected officials as well. First, research, Google the legislator you'll be visiting and learn more about them and their positions. 2, open strong. Make a brief but relevant introduction of everybody in the meeting. Build a rapport. Don't bury your lead, and explain why your desired outcome should be important to the official. Be nice to staff at all times, and don't feel bad if you just get the staff to meet with. Unless you know otherwise, assume the member or staff knows little about your issue. Then ask the member questions and listen to his or her answers. Anticipate and plan for any objections to your position. Close strongly. What specific action do you want? For example, say, can we count on your vote? Will you sign on to this letter? And then the 8th point from Senator Block is to leave a written summary. 1 page that's clear and concise and very readable, with large font and lots of white space. Now, there are many other suggestions that can and are made when lobbying elected or appointed officials and their staff. But Senator Block and I think these are the main ones that individuals and interest groups and even experienced lobbyists should utilize to maximize the success of their contacts with elected or appointed officials and their staff, either in writing, by telephone, or in person.